Hello and welcome to TRT World. From record-breaking heat waves and wildfires that threatened communities across Europe and the Balkans, to Kosovo becoming the center of the global music scene through the Sunny Hill Festival, we bring you the stories shaping the region. I'm Nadja Muftic, and this is Across the Balkans. High temperatures and wildfires have hit Europe. Near Athens and on several islands, flames have threatened communities and vast areas of land. Meanwhile, the Danube, Europe's second longest river, has fallen to record low levels, putting regional power plants and local economies at risk. Nadja Muftic has more.
This scene of horses fleeing wildfires in northwestern Greece is a vivid representation of an environmental crisis scientists have warned Europe about. Europe is getting hotter, leading to wildfires that have scorched thousands of square kilometers of land and caused the evacuations of hundreds of thousands of people. Strong winds continue to hamper firefighting efforts across western Attica, northwest of Athens, and on the islands of the Peloponnese, Paros and Naxos, though conditions are finally showing signs of easing. The crisis has claimed the lives of 5 firefighters, including 2 crew members who died in a mid-air helicopter collision west of Athens. After record-breaking heat waves and little rain, several countries, including Spain, Italy and Portugal, have collectively battled wildfires that exceed annual averages. Southwest France suffered one of the largest forest fires since World War II. Following a major fire incident in England, authorities announced that half of England and Wales had entered drought.
We've always had heat waves in this country. What is notable here is the sustained high temperatures. And right now we're also in a very dry period. So on top of those hot temperatures, we've also got drought to consider and wildfire risk. And we've flipped into this kind of scenario now where we are living through temperatures that are making us very uncomfortable. When we had that red warning for heat out, that meant that even healthy people were in trouble, because of the hot temperatures that we had. And that is new, and that is directly because of climate change and because we've been burning fossil fuels and putting that into our atmosphere.
This is Europe's second largest river, the Danube. It crosses 10 countries, including Balkan countries, Serbia, Croatia, Bulgaria, Moldova, Hungary and Romania. Some sections are so shallow that they can be crossed on foot, and it has exposed relics of bygone eras. This includes the remains of a Nazi warship that emerged on the Serbian side of the river, multiple wrecks of World War II Nazi warships in Bulgaria, and these remains of what is believed to be an ancient mammoth in northern Bulgaria. At the Vidin Caliphate Bridge connecting Bulgaria and Romania, Bulgarian fishermen complained of being out of work because of the low water levels. Scientists warn levels are unlikely to improve for at least another month.
Аз съм от 39 години и баби, така суша до сега не е имал. Не знам, отгоре трябва да вземат нещо и нашите, те нагоре спидат водата на мощта. Сърбите, румънците, румънците оттатък канал. И те си гледат естествено риба, там си развъдници, поливат.
Romania's navy has resorted to controlled explosions to redirect the Danube River's flow, providing water that keeps the Chernovoda nuclear power plant running. Neighbouring Hungary has not been so fortunate. Low water levels forced the closure of the Pax nuclear power plant for the first time in its almost 44-year history. The wildfires are a stark warning that unless the world controls global warming, destruction of this extent will continue to be the new normal. Nadja Muftic, Across the Balkans.
More on the extreme climate conditions affecting Europe and the Balkans and what they mean for the future, I will discuss with meteorologist Nedim Sladic. Welcome to Across the Balkans.
Hello, and thank you for having me on your program.
Recent updates say wildfires across Europe have largely been contained. Can you tell us more about it?
We can clearly say that most of the wildfires now across Europe have been under control, partially because we had some of the disturbances from the Atlantic that brought some fresh air and instability, which also brought some beneficial rainfall. However, it's far from over, and we can say that we still have hundreds of wildfires across Europe, from France all the way to Bulgaria in the east. So we can expect that these conditions will continue to linger for at least another week or so.
We see the Danube River's water levels hit a record low. What are the impacts on European and Balkan countries?
There are major impacts on the European countries. It is not only the Balkans that is facing the crisis with the water, it is also present across Central and Western Europe, which has endured a very hot, dry, and for most record-breaking summer. Not to mention that we also see hunger stones appearing again. And this is just telling you how serious the situation is across many parts of Europe. But for the Balkans in specific, we can say that this is largely threatening the ecosystems and also the transport of goods. So one of the things that we have with the droughts is that this is the insidious part of the hazard, because the drought starts slowly but very treacherously. And once it starts, once you have the onset in terms of meteorology and hydrology, we are now in meteorological and hydrological drought. This can only bring the additional burdens to our pockets, because we will be paying more for the transport, because we are overstretching the system and we're overstretching the limits of how we can operate, how we can transfer our goods, because we now need to use the freight services. We also need to use other sources of transport. So it is not good in the way for the human beings in terms of what we can expect from it. And also we can clearly say that we will be definitely paying more for many goods.
What measures should have been taken to prevent the Danube's recession? Could it have been prevented?
Largely speaking, from meteorological perspective and hydrological perspective, not likely that we could have prevented this. What we could have done is to track the weather and the seasonal weather forecasts, which imply that this summer will be drier than normal across central and western parts of Europe, which was nicely in analog what we could have seen with some previous years that have resembled the similar conditions that we had in spring. Since April, the signal for a drier and hotter summer has been persistent across many weather models that we analyzed, and also the analogs that we derived. So we had the signal, and we could have seen now 3-4 months afterwards that this is now materializing in the way that maybe it left us a little bit surprised, given the magnitude in terms of how many heat waves we had across many parts of Europe, especially western corner of the Europe, and also the number of records that we have had, both in hydrological and meteorological sense. Not to mention that most of the rivers are now depleted and the levels are extremely low for this time of the year, which concurs with some of the hottest summers that we recorded in Europe, such as 2003, which had very similar conditions when, for example, Zagreb was forced to have hosepipe bans and also the water restrictions because Sava River was on the record low. Now we can clearly see that this is not just contained to the Balkans and Central Europe, it is more pan-European compared to 20, 25 years ago.
Romania has used explosives to divert the Danube's water flow to its nuclear power plant. Do you think this will work?
On a short term, yes, but this is just the emergency exit. You cannot always conduct these sort of experiments where you have a detonation and essentially you're diverting the river flow. So you cannot always use these situations. It will help, but just as an elementary help. Elementary precaution, just to make sure that the Chernovoda works without any disruption. We could have seen, for example, in Hungary, this has been done in a different way. PAX has been shut down. Maybe Romania could have done the same, because this is the situation where you have a high level risk and you cannot always guarantee it will be successful. So you need to do this under very high controlled levels, under the high control levels, and then expect that you essentially get the favorable outcome. This time that was the case, thankfully, and also you could get the rise of your river flow in this sort of situations, but it's not the recommended way to do so.
Heat waves cause more and more serious problems every year. What protective measures should governments take?
That's a great question, and I'm grateful that you asked it, because we always consider that the cold extremes are the ones that are attributed to the higher deaths across Europe and across the world. But now we see that this has been overtaken with the warmer extremes as our climate progressively continues to warm up. And in that sense, 2026 was a very stark reminder that the climate change is here and that the rate of the climate crisis is just accelerating with more greenhouse gases that we dump into our oceans, because oceans are huge absorbers of the energy. Not to mention that what we can do is, obviously we can do our part, our individual parts, but for the governments is to put more into the infrastructure that is robust, that it can handle these sort of extremes, which will also reduce the burden on the national health services. And consequently, you can expect that these summers will be much easier to bear, and obviously it will be more comfortable for many. One of the things that many European countries are now considering are introduction of siestas, or any sort of temporary break between the afternoon hours when you have the highest temperatures, which perhaps wouldn't be a bad idea to reconsider how we work during the hottest part of the year. And not to mention that doing nothing costs even more than investing in a robust infrastructure. So we all start from roads that are melting, especially in Western Europe, which are not which are not adjusted to these sort of level of temperatures that we had in 2026. And obviously, this is causing more burden to your economy. But when you invest more into the robust infrastructure, you're reducing any additional debts and payments that you would normally have to invest, uh, because you're not doing anything and you're just waiting to see how much your infrastructure can handle these sort of extremes. And obviously, people are getting overheated in their homes, and this is obviously having another feedback loop link where you have an overheated home, you are essentially receiving some sort of thermal stress, and that is leading to the body exhaustion, and then you're burdening your NHS and essentially causing more harm than good. And it is a perfect scenario storm where you can clearly see that all sectors are related quite closely, and they should work as their role is.
Nedim Sladic, thank you so much for your time and for being with us in Across the Balkans.
Thank you for having me again.
At the beginning of August, Kosovo once again became the center of the music world as global music stars performed in Pristina and this year's Sunny Hill Festival. We discussed the festival and its significance for Kosovo with its founder and Dua Lipa's father, Dukagjin Lipa. Welcome to Across the Balkans. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Another successful festival is behind you. Tell us more about this year's festival. For the audience, I think one of its highlights was when Katy Perry came on stage holding the Kosovo flag. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess the festival is becoming very big, and not just one moment in the festival defines the festival itself. But yeah, of course, it's Katy Perry, including the flag of Kosovo as part of her performance, as she does in many other countries. It is a beautiful highlight for the Kosovo audience and Kosovo as a country. So yeah, this year we have surpassed all our numbers that we had like from last year, and it's becoming one of the bigger festivals in Southeast Europe. The lineup was amazing. The audience is equally amazing as the lineup is. We are very happy. We are very happy.
Great. Sunny Hill started as an idea between you and your daughter, Dua Lipa, and today it has become one of the biggest music festivals in Southeast Europe. How did this idea come about, and why was it so important for you to create a festival on this scale in Kosovo?
Well, I mean, it derives from so many different kind of angles. It's not just one idea that we had like one day and said, oh, we would love to have a festival. I was a musician in my past life, and Dua basically grew up with me performing and her being in the backstage. And then we have changed positions in a much bigger scale. My marketing career started as a part of a organization that had festivals in their roster. So I was always in love with festivals and these kind of organizations and live music especially. So it was kind of a natural progression from being a festival fan into a promoter and organizer of a festival, and that's one of the things that we do, and luckily, you know, we are not too bad at that one.
Yeah, Dugi, turning that festival into reality was certainly not easy. What were the biggest challenges you and your family faced along the way?
I guess in the beginning, the biggest challenges were to let our friends, artists and managers and agents and promoters, to let them know that what we are promising as a festival organizers is something very serious. We very well known of promoting Kosovo and promoting the country and promoting the city of Pristina especially. And we needed to kind of prove everyone that coming to Pristina and coming to the festival is going to be a beautiful experience for everyone. So maybe that was the hardest bit in the beginning, to kind of make them believe us that we are not inviting you here just as our friends. We are inviting you on a level of professionalism that you have seen everywhere in the world, if not on a higher level, because we have to prove that you know, our production is great, our stages are great, our team is great, and what's more important, the energy that the audience gives back to the artist is, in my opinion, unmatched in the world.
Today, some of the biggest names in world music come to Pristina. Beside Dua Lipa, Miley Cyrus, Katy Perry, Shawn Mendes, Calvin Harris, and many others. What does it mean to you that Kosovo is bringing together global stars and gives young people across the Balkans and the Kosovan and Albanian diaspora the opportunity to experience world-class concerts in their own country rather than having to travel abroad?
I mean, when you mention these names and Kosovo in one sentence, have been probably an impossible sentence to utter. But thankfully and luckily, we have the technical capabilities, we have teams, and we have hospitality that our friends can enjoy. Mm-hmm. And having all these names in Kosovo is something that brings a lot of value to the country. It brings a lot of value to Pristina, to Kosovo, and we are very proud to host our friends and these big artists in our country.
So despite achieving international success, you have remained deeply connected to Kosovo. What has it been important for you to invest in your homeland?
I'm very attached to my homeland. I'm very attached to my hometown, Pristina. Luckily, I have, apart from emotional attachments, we have like work attachments as well. So I'm very, very much connected to my hometown, not just on the emotional side, but from work side as well. Talking about the economical impact of the Sunny Hill Festival, by our research last year, we had about 50 million euros that Pristina as a city or Kosovo benefited from Sunny Hill Festival. That is an enormous amount of money that comes to Kosovo through the festival. This year, with research, I'm expecting to double that, considering that we had doubled the numbers nearly of the festival. There is no business, and we do have some very big businesses that run out of Kosovo, can bring 50 to 100 million for 1 week, not to their budgets, but to Kosovo budget. So I think that Sunny Hill Festival is very important for the country as well.
Your daughter, Dua Lipa, often speaks proudly about her Kosovan and Albanian roots. How did you and your wife raise your children to maintain such a strong sense of identity, belonging, and love for their homeland, despite growing up and achieving success internationally?
I think you have to be in love with who you are. You have to be in love with the country that you come from. You have to embrace your history. You have to promote your history. You don't have to be, I know that a lot of people from Kosovo and from Albania and from, the countries, they work very hard in their daily lives and they don't have enough time to spend with their kids. And then usually, kids start speaking more of the language of the country where you are or where they live. But it's very important to get your children, to speak the language. It's always something that it's great asset to have. And I guess we are very, very proud of who we are and where we're from. And that has trickled down to our children, and we try to speak Albanian as much as we can. Mm-hmm. When we are in London, when we are anywhere in the world. Sometimes with Dua, when we need to say something in secret, we turn it into Albanian. That's our secret language. So yeah, I guess embracing who you are and being proud of who you are and loving the heritage and loving the history and being proud of that. That's one of the parts, to kind of try and then tell your children that you should not be embarrassed of where you're from and the language that you speak.
What is your vision for the future of Sunny Hill Festival and how do you see the future of Kosovo?
I think the Sunny Hill Festival is going to become the biggest festival in Southeast Europe, and hopefully in 5 years we are going to start competing with the bigger festivals in Europe. What Sunny Hill brings to the country is very valuable, and we need to kind of work together into promoting the country as much as we can.
Dukagjin Lipa, thank you very much for joining us today in Across the Balkans. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
That's all from me and the team for this week. Stay connected with Across the Balkans by following our stories on TRT World's social medias and YouTube channel. I'm Nadja Muftic. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.